This is second video lecture on module 2 memories. In this lecture we shall study different types of memories. Broadly there are two categories, random access memory and read-only memory. Under random access memory we have different categories: static RAM, dynamic RAM. Dynamic, the name means the data which is stored needs to be refreshed periodically. Static means the data stored will be retained as long as there is a power supply. The data need not to be refreshed. Read-only memory, usually here the data is stored and it will be not updated periodically. Read-only memory again have many categories: combinational ROM, programmable ROM. Combinational ROM means input values mapped to a output, just like a truth table. It is just like a combinational circuit. Programmable memory, as you already know, we can perform write operation by programming. Flash is one kind of programmable memory. So under these memories we have certain categories which are volatile, certain categories which are non-volatile. We shall study one by one. First is asynchronous static RAM. As the name indicates, asynchronous static RAM, it doesn't depend on clock. It will not work on clock. The storage cells of this asynchronous static RAM are just like D-latch elements. Each element can store 1-bit latch. Therefore, the sequential timing constraints of D-latch, that is setup time, hold time, clock to output delay, all applies for this RAM also. This static RAM has active low control signals, as you can see in the block diagram. So these asynchronous static RAM have, as they are having bidirectional inputs, they cannot be used as components in ASICs and FPGA. Coming to the block or component, so it has address lines, data lines which are bidirectional, active low, chip enable. So you need to apply 0 here for performing read or write operation. Next is write enable. This is also active low. If this is 1, you can perform read operation. If this is 0, you can perform write operation. Output enable. So this is an extra control signal to enable or disable the tri-state drivers, as we are using bidirectional input output bus. So if this output enable is 0, tri-state buses are active, the tri-state drivers are active, and you can perform read operation. If this output enable is 1, tri-state buses are inactive, you can perform write operation. So these are timing diagram for read operation, for write operation and read operation. First we shall see the write operation. So under write operation, address should be available on the address line. At the same time we have to apply 0 to this chip enable. The chip enable signal should be made 0. Along with this, write enable should be made 0, as we are performing write operation and this is active low signal, therefore it should be made 0. Output enable should be high, that is the tri-state driver should be disabled. The data to be stored should be present on this line. So this is the data to be stored. It should be present on this line and it should obey the timing constraints of setup time and hold time. So out of these two signals, whichever arrives first, rising edge, or whichever signal has rising edge first, so setup time and hold time should be satisfied for that rising edge. In this example we have a rising edge on write enable. with respect to this, setup time and hold time for the data to be stored should be satisfied. That is, the data to be stored should be present on this line before this setup time. After this rising edge, the data to be stored should be still constant, held constant on the bidirectional line for hold time. Coming to the read operation, in read operation the only difference is we have to make this write enable high. That is, as we are performing read operation, write enable, this is active low signal, it should be made 1. Output enable should be made 0. As we are using these lines as output, we have to activate tri-state drivers. To activate tri-state drivers, we have to activate this signal by making it 0. The data which is pointed by this address will be picked from that location and it will be applied to the output line. So the same line will act as output, so the data will be available on this line. Here there are no timing constraints during read operation. So the timing constraints are published in data sheets. So we are concerned with few parameters here: access time, cycle time. Access time is the time from address enable valid to valid data out. Cycle time, it is from start to end of access. So these parameters are available in datasheet. This is a sample datasheet for illustration. So this is a datasheet of a component by name CY7C1041BV33. So this is one asynchronous SRAM component. So this is the datasheet. In this datasheet you can find the parameters for read cycle and write cycle. Next is synchronous static RAM. The difference between synchronous static RAM and asynchronous static RAM is the presence of clock in synchronous static RAM. This is also abbreviated as SSRAM. So the speciality of this SSRAM is for the address lines, data lines and control inputs, it will have registers. After the input pins there will be registers. So the data which are waiting at address line, data input line and control inputs will be first stored in these registers on the first clock cycle. On the next clock cycle, these data will be accessed by the memory component. Under synchronous static RAM, we have two categories. The first one is flow through SSRAM, second one is pipelined SSRAM. So first let us see what is flow through SSRAM. As the name indicates, flow through, the data which is written into a memory location will directly flow through and reach the output. Hence the name flow through SSRAM. There is no register on the data output. Therefore, as soon as you perform a write operation, the data which is written in a particular memory location will arrive at the output terminal without any control. So this is the timing diagram of read and write operation of flow through SSRAM. You can observe here. So this is the first clock cycle. So the address A1, this is made available on the address lines. Enable, this is like chip enable, means we are activating the component to perform write or write operation. Initially we are performing write operation, therefore write is 1. So this is the data which needs to be written, XX. Data out, so there is some value of output which we are not concerned at this time. So on the start of second clock cycle, on the arrival of this rising edge, second clock cycle starts, then what will happen is these values, that is address at the address line, enable value at the enable line, this write value on the write input and this XX data on the data input will be fetched inside a registers, respective registers. On the next clock cycle, that is at the start of third clock cycle, on this rising gates, third rising gates, what will happen is the actual write operation will be performed to the address pointed by this address line, which is A1. The data XX will be written in the location A1. At the same time, the data which is written immediately appears on the output line. So here you can observe XX. So this was the data which needs to be stored, and after storing the data in the location, it appears immediately on the output line. In this we can also observe there is an attempt to perform read operation. So there is an address A2 which has appeared on the address input in the start at the start of this clock cycle, and write is made 0. So there is an attempt to perform read operation. So this data is read on the next clock cycle, that is on the start of fourth rising gate. The data M of A2 means the data which is stored in location A2 is read, and the data will appear on the output Dout. So this is an example, a numerical example, coefficient multiplier. So what we have to perform here is design a circuit that computes y equals ci into x square. So we have to realize this function using a digital circuit or a digital system where x is a binary coded input value, ci is a coefficient stored in flow through SSRAM, means we have to use a flow through SSRAM. X, ci and y are signed fixed point values with 8 pre-binary point and 12 post-binary point bits, means the total size is 20 bit. The index I is also an input to the circuit encoded as 12 bit unsigned integer. So it is 12 bit unsigned integer. Values for x and I arrive at the input during the cycle when an input control start is 1. So there is an input control called start. So when it is 1, the values x and I arrive at the system. The circuit should minimize area by using a single multiplier to multiply ci by x and then by x again. So we have to use a single multiplier which performs ci into x first. After that, the product of this will be multiplied with x again. So the same things are described here. Here also we have to first design the data path, then control section. So this is the data path. As you can see, this is the SRAM component, and this is the arrangement of 2:1 multiplexers. So this arrangement enables to perform the multiplication of ci into x first. After that, the product of ci into x will be multiplied with x again to give ci into x square. The result will be stored in this register. So this is the register which will store the result, that is y equals ci into x square. So this is the input register where the x samples will be stored. X underscore CE, this is the enable signal of this chip. The control signals in this circuit, all of them will be controlled by the control section. The value required for the performance or operation of this data path will be supplied by the control section, and internally it controls the operation of this data path. The computation will start when the index value I is stored in the address register of this SRAM. The data input X is stored in this register. On the second clock cycle, the SRAM performs read operation. The coefficient read from SRAM, the stored value X will be first multiplied by this multiplier, and the data will be stored, that is the result Ci into X, that result will be stored in this register. Here you can see a feedback from the output of this register to the second multiplexer. During the next clock cycle, the product, which is Ci into X, this will be multiplied with X again, as you can see, and the final result will be stored in this register, which is Y equals Ci into X. First, in order to multiply Ci into X, this select line will be made 0. So when this select line is made 0, out of these two inputs, this multiplexer will select the output of this SRAM, which is nothing but the Ci value. This multiplexer will select X value. So during the first iteration, Ci into X, these two will be multiplied and the result is stored here. In the next iteration, as this Ci into X is fed back to this multiplexer, when you make this select line 1, the output of this register, which is Ci into X, that will be multiplied with X again. See, here you can observe there is connection from this second input of multiplexer to the output of this register, which is storing X. So this X will be multiplied with the product, which is Ci into X. So ultimately at the output you receive Ci into X, which is nothing but Ci into X square, that will be stored in this register. Here you can observe in step 1, CRAM enable. In step 1 we maintain CRAM enable and X underscore C1 in order to capture the input values. When start changes to 1, CRAM enable and XC goes to 0 and transit to second step. In step 1 we will be waiting for this start signal. Once this start signal is 1, we traverse to the second step. In second step, what we do is we make this select line 0 so that YCE, that is output of the output register, is equal to Ci into X. After doing that, unconditionally we move to step 3. In step 3, the product stored in the output register will be multiplied with X again. So the final product will be Y equals Ci into X. After that, again we move to the idle state, which is step number 1. So this is the FSM, transition diagram of FSM. Here you can see in step 1, that is in idle state, we are waiting for the start signal. If start signal is 0, we remain in step 1. In step 1, we move to step 2 on the arrival of this start signal. From step 2, we unconditionally move to step 3. From step 3, after finishing the performance of after finishing the work of step 3, we directly move to step 1. Again we keep waiting in step 1. So these 4 values are CRAM enable X underscore CE, multiply select, and YCE. So the next category of SSRAM is pipelined SSRAM. The difference between pipelined SSRAM and flow-through SSRAM is, in pipelined SSRAM there is an output register at the data output also. So this is suitable for high-speed systems. Here you can see the timing diagram of this SSRAM. In the first clock cycle, just like flow-through SSRAM, the address A1 enable the signal which has become 1, write which is 1, and the data to be stored. This is for write operation setup. These values will be fetched into the registers on the start of second clock cycle. On the arrival of this rising edge, these values will be stored in the respective registers. On the arrival of third rising edge, according to the write operation, the address pointed by this address line, which is small a1, this data will be stored in that particular location whose address is small a1, and that data will appear on the output line after this clock cycle, after this rising edge. If you observe the timing diagram of synchronous static RAM, that is flow through synchronous static RAM, during the write operation, the data which is stored in location A1, the data is XX, will immediately appear in the second clock cycle itself, as there is no register at the output. Immediately it will appear on the output line, whereas in case of pipelined SSRAM, the data which is stored in this location A1 will not appear on the output. It will appear on the output only after the rising edge arrives, that is only after the third clock cycle starts. You can observe that at the start of this third clock cycle, there is an attempt to perform read operation as well. So we are attempting to read data which is stored in memory address small a2. Here you can observe write signal is 0, that is we are attempting to perform read operation. So this data will be read in the fourth clock cycle. As you can see, M of A2. M of A2 is nothing but the data which is present in the location small a2. Next is how to model these memories in Verilog. That is the Verilog equivalent of flow through SSRAM. First of all, a RAM or a memory will be realized like this. So you need to use the array concept for realizing a memory. Here there is a register data RAM. This is an array of 0 is to 4095, means totally there are 4096 elements. The first element index is 0, the last element index is 4095. Totally there are 4096 elements. The size of each element is 16 bit. 15 is to 0 means 16 bit. By writing this declaration, what you are modeling is, you are modeling an array of locations where each location is of size 16 bit. The number of locations is 4096. So this is the model of a memory in general. Coming to the flow through SSRAM. So you have to model a flow through SSRAM using these statements. So first of all, you have to use always at pause its clock. Why means this flow through SSRAM depends on clock. So first you have to check whether enable is 1, whether enable is active. If enable is active, then you have to check for WR. What is WR? So this is a control signal which determines whether to perform write or read operation. If this WR is 1, it means that you need to perform write operation. If this WR is 0, you need to perform read operation. So if this WR is 1, so you need to write the data which is available on the data pin of the memory to a location or to a location pointed by the address. For that reason, data RAM. So this data RAM is nothing but the array what we have declared. So we are accessing one element or one location of this data RAM by using this index A. So this small a is nothing but the actual address value. So that address will act as index here. So this is the data which is waiting at the input terminal. So that data will be applied to this location, means the data will be stored in this location. At the same time, as this is flow through SSRAM, the data stored should immediately appear on the output line. Therefore, data underscore in is applied to data out. So once the data is stored, immediately it will appear on the output line as well. Suppose this write control signal is 0. We have to perform read operation. So in the else part, what we have is we are fetching a location's data RAM of A. What is this data RAM? Again, this array what we have declared. So we are accessing the location pointed by this register. So this address will act as index. So this can be any value between 0 to 4095. So if this is 0, the data stored in location data RAM of 0 will be fetched and it will be applied to the output Dout. So next we shall discuss example coefficient multiplier, a Verilog module for this coefficient multiplier. As you already know, coefficient multiplier has data path and control section. So we write the code or model this data path. We write the statements and declarations to model this data path. Modules scaled square. So this is a name, user defined name for the coefficient multiplier. So what it has is, it has output signed register. Signed Y register means the output Y will be used inside always. So it is 8-bit pre-binary and 12-bit post-binary bits. It is having 8-bit pre-binary and 12-bit post-binary. So there is a decimal point after 8 bits. After decimal point there are 12 bits to represent fraction. Input signed 7:-12, again same for Cin and X, 8-bit pre-binary and 12-bit post-binary. Input 11:0 I, so I is index. So this is a 12-bit value. This is just like address. Input start, so this is the control signal on which the multiplication starts. Input clock and reset. Wire CRAM write. So this is an intermediate signal which is used for the read and write operation. So the data for this will be supplied by the control section. Register CRAM enable X underscore CE in multiplication select YCE. For all this, the data will be supplied by the control section. Register signed 7:-12 Cout X out. So these are the intermediate signals to store the output of coefficient and X, that is to store the output of this memory and the register. Then we have register signed 7:-12 CRAM. So this is the model of memory as we have discussed in the previous slide. So in this way we have to model the memory. Then register signed 7:-12 operand 1 operand 2. These are multiplier inputs. Parameter 1:0, step 1, step 2, step 3 and so on. These are for next state logic. So in this model we are modeling both data path and control section. So this will be helpful for the control section. Register 1:0 current state, next state, again for state register. Assign CRAM write equals 1 bit 0. So initially we are performing read operation. So this is the model for flow through RAM. So initially we wait for enable signal. Once enable signal is 1, we look for write signal. If write signal is 1, we perform write operation. That is, the data at the input terminal will be written to a location pointed by this address. I is address. At the same time, after performing this write operation, we make the data written available on the output line. Therefore, assign this C into output also. If this CRAM write is 0, we have to perform read operation. Therefore, assign the data stored in this location I is address again, to the output. So this is the model of flow through SSRAM. This is the model of register, that is the output register, this one. So initially you wait for Y underscore CE, which is the enable signal of this register, chip enable. If this is high, then you look for seeing the select line of the multiplier, whether this is 1 or 0. If this is 0, what you do is you take operand 1 as Cout, operand 2 as Xout. Operand 1 and operand 2, these are the inputs of multiplier. If this multiplication select, if this is not 0, if this is 1, so else part will be executed. So operand 1 will be X, that is X value, output of the X register. Operand 2 will be Y will be now CI into X. So here Y will be operand 1 into operand 2. So in turn, after the execution of this block, what will happen is CI will be multiplied with X if this multiply select is 0. If multiply select is 1, CI into X will be multiplied with X again. Ultimately you get Y equals CI into X square. So the design of this finite state machine has 3 parts. It is left as assignment, as you can see. So here we have to design or model the state register, then next state logic and output logic. So to summarize, in this video what we have discussed is We started with different types of memory. We have discussed what is asynchronous static RAM. We have discussed the timing constraints on asynchronous static RAM. We have discussed synchronous static RAM, which is flow through synchronous static RAM. Then we have discussed an example on flow through synchronous static RAM. Pipeline synchronous static RAM, which is second category, which will have registers at both the input side and output side. And we have discussed how to model the memory in general in Verilog. And also we have discussed the model on this coefficient multiplier. Thank you.